PTellez, who is the community volunteer for the Hispanic community. And of course, Mr. Tellez, let me continue our conversation that we had earlier by giving you an opportunity to talk about some problems, economic problems, social problems that might be specific to the Hispanic community and some of the problems that you run into every day in your representation of them throughout the community.
Well, I think the biggest hurdle for the Hispanics, or what we want to call them, Latinos, whatever, the immigrants to face is a lack of English knowledge. We have an awful lot of highly educated and highly skilled people that are working way below their skill level because they just don't speak English. So we might have doctors working as dishwashers in some cases. You know, we have engineers digging ditches and things like that. But the thing is, they all want to work because they all have an obligation back home in their home countries to support their families, and many are here because of the job opportunities that are here. Some are here as political refugees. Others are here as economic refugees. The political refugees have an advantage because they are received with status, immigration status that allows us not to worry about immigration officers looking for them. The other refugees may or may not be legal, and a large number of them have drifted in from the Southwest and from places where the job market was not as good as it is here, although they're American citizens or they're legal residents. And there's a large number of them here, and they've come from California, Texas, New Mexico, other places in the Southwest, and we have some coming from New York and Florida and other places. But the main thing here is the job market, and everybody needs a job. So the thing that they face is a lack of a place to live because it's expensive in the first place. And when I first got here, there weren't that many available units, housing units. And consequently, a lot of people were living in what we would term pretty low substandard facilities. But the ones that don't speak English, we have arranged for programs to have English as second language classes. Just about it's highly available everywhere. We have some at my church and other places that we've arranged for, and that helps them a little bit to assimilate. And once they've been here a little while, they start to improve themselves in their situation by getting better jobs. They get more experience, and people get to know them, and they get to be able to understand English better. The problem was the local community was not understanding where all these strange faces were coming from, and consequently they may have felt invaded, because if you live in a community, for example, something like Woodbine, or I'm more familiar with that area because I live in Antioch, and I work a lot with Woodbine Community Center there. And you look around and you see all these different faces because they have quite a few different...
There's Hispanic presence you can get.
Not just Hispanic. They have Middle Eastern and a lot of other countries are moving into that area because of it's a little more economical to live there. Consequently, you have more and more businesses being established along the Oldsville Road, Murfreesboro Road. And the thing is, there's a myth that a lot of these people come here to take jobs away from Americans and that they don't pay taxes and all that. Well, it's incorrect, because a lot of them establish businesses, and they hire people. They create jobs. And also they pay taxes. They file their income taxes and pay Social Security, and they pay tax when they rent an apartment. They're paying taxes there, and although it's hidden, and they pay tax when they buy gasoline and groceries. So they're just as much
when they
as
consume, they pay.
They just pay the same taxes as the rest of us do. So the thing is, since they may have a different culture, and I'm fortunate because I grew up in two cultures. I grew up in the Hispanic culture or Latino culture and the American culture. So I feel kind of fortunate there. I think the good Lord was good to me there.
Comfortable in both cultures.
Right, yes, sir. And in fact, a lot of times I kind of glad there because I can watch the Spanish language television or listen to the Spanish legal programs and the radio, and I understand them perfectly, and then I can switch over to English, and it's a very easy transition for me. And it is that way for a lot of them. We do have a lot of people that especially those that grew up in the States, who are bilingual American citizens or have been legally made residents, who speak English, and there are quite a few of them here, but you don't necessarily identify them because you don't notice if they speak English.
And so and really they don't readily identify themselves as such, as persons who are bilingual.
Right.
But now that is a tremendous advantage, and especially when you're dealing with a growing and increasing Hispanic population, to be able to act as an interpreter or as a translator and whatnot.
Well, the thing is, another thing is we find the ignorance of the common population of the history of the United States, you know, because the Southwest was populated back in middle 1500s from people coming in from, that had come in through Columbus and then Cortez and all. And we had the explorers in Florida, and then we had the highest point in Tennessee. It was Lookout Mountain was discovered by a Spaniard, and on the way to Texas and so on. So we forget all these things, and we also don't remember that there were people here before the Pilgrims landed. So the whole thing didn't start with Mayflower or Jamestown. It started down in Santa Fe and
which there was also a Mexican-American War at one time.
Yes, that's where I think that's where my family became American, because we were in the same place in New Mexico for 3 or 4, I don't know, since 1600s, early 1600s. 1615 is the first PTellez that I know of that was in this part of the country in New Mexico, and so we were there 5 years before the Pilgrims anyway. And when after the Mexican-American War and after the Gadsden Purchase, then that part of the country became American. So people ask me, "What am I American or what?" I said, especially the Latinos coming from different countries. They say, "What country are you from?" I said, "This one." And
that's precisely.
They said, "Well, where did you learn Spanish?" I said, "Well, at home." You know, and so. It's kind of confusing for a lot of people. I mean, it's not just the local population, it's for my own Hispanic brothers and sisters.
Well, I think it's confusing for those who don't understand American history, that up until the 1840s, that primarily anything west of the Mississippi was land that perhaps you would designate as Hispanic land, you see, and of course Americans were able to come in contact with that, and especially when you go further out west into California and all of those areas, and you look at all of the problems that people claim that they're having. Of course, we'll talk about that when we come back after our second commercial break. Who is the